My motion is on the urgent need for security agencies to intervene in the increased rate of kidnapping in the riverine areas of Ogun East Senatorial District and securing the waterways. The Senate notes with urgent and grave concern the recent increase in the activities of criminal syndicates who specialize in kidnapping and militancy in and around the riverine communities in Ogun East Senatorial District, particularly Odeomi, Makun, and Iwokwin in Ogun Waterside local government area of Ogun State. Concerned that the activities of these criminals has caused law-abiding residents of coastal communities of the affected areas to flee their communities and livelihood out of fear. Further concerned that between the 11th of August and October 2019, about 10 persons have been abducted, including one woman who was kidnapped on a farm, and as we speak, nobody knows her whereabouts. Note that the situation is now so bad that prominent citizens of these communities had to vacate the community due to high level of insecurity in the area. We will recall that the Punch of August 2019 reported the case of the son of the chief imam who was kidnapped on the eve of the Eid al-Kabir by kidnappers who also stormed the community in a gunboat. Further observed that the activities of these criminal syndicates have caused untold hardship to the people of Ogun East Central District, and the intervention of the federal government is urgently required. My prayers are as follows, Mr. President. Advise the federal government to direct the Inspector General of Police to immediately instruct the Commissioner of Police, Ogun State, to immediately beef up the strength of his men to effectively secure all the affected creeks and communities. Advise the federal government to direct the Inspector General of Police to immediately make available sufficient helicopters for aerial surveillance and gunboats to the Marine Department of the Police in Ogun State in order to enable the State Command effectively tackle the activities of these militants. And lastly, urge the Nigerian Navy to establish a naval base in Makurdi because of its strategic location between Ondo and Lagos State and its accessibility to both road and water. Thank you, Mr. President.
President, your Ibikunle Amosun, I represent Ogun Central Senatorial District. Let me commend my brother, Senator Mustafa, for moving this, what I call very timely motion. Mr. President, what is actually happening in the areas that he mentioned, and indeed some other areas that adjoins the Ogun Waterside local government, is such that should be of great concern to all of us. I recall that in 2017, this issue of kidnapping started. Indeed, clearly, this is very strange. This is not usual in those areas. And I was, that time, I was governing Ogun State. And I realized that it took the intervention of Mr. President. Then we wrote to him, and graciously he sent the armies, because what is actually happening there, I beg to say, it's beyond even the capacity of the Nigerian police. They're there as we speak. They've been there since, but clearly it is beyond them. I recollect that in 2017, it took the intervention of the Army, the Air Force, and even the naval team for them to quench that issue of kidnapping then. But in 2019, early 2019, the issue of kidnapping reared its ugly head again. So much so that as we speak today, the commerce in those areas are dead. Nobody can do any business there anymore. Indeed, just like what he said, majority of our people there are relocating. They are relocating to Ijebu-Ode, to all those other major towns. So, Mr. President, I want to join my colleague in suggesting that the issue of having a naval presence there, just like what they did in Tongeji Island, will be welcomed by the good people of not just that area but Ogun State. And I want to say this should be extended to Shagamu local government, indeed to Ikorodu. That's okay, wait. Yes, to Ikorodu in Lagos State, and to all those areas where we have kidnapping issues. So, Mr. President, I will want to say that we should allow the prayers. The one that I really want to support is the issue of having naval presence in those areas, and they should get the military, the Air Force to be involved, because those are the people that clearly help us that time. So in supporting this motion, I want to once again commend Senator Mustafa for bringing this up. Thank you, Mr. President. Oh, okay, in seconding the motion, I want to commend
Accordingly, the Senate resolves to advise the federal government to direct the Inspector General of Police to immediately instruct the Commissioner of Police, Ogun State, to immediately beef up the strength of its men to effectively secure all the affected creeks and communities. Well, I think somebody needs to work. But anyway, those in favor of prayer 1, any amendment? Okay, Senator George Thompson Sekibo.
Moved by Senator Sekibo.
Before I put the question, I'm worried that Senator Abdul Fattah Buhari is sitting next to you, because he's disrupting you, I'm sure. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of prayer 1 as amended, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, I think just like we amended prayer 1, instead of advice, we should urge the federal government to direct the Inspector General of Police to immediately make available sufficient helicopters for aerial surveillance and gunboats to the Marine Police Department of Ogun State Police Command in order to enable the State Command effectively tackle the activities of the militants. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And prayer 3. And prayer 3. Prayer 3. Urge the Nigerian Navy to establish a naval base in Maku-Omi because of its strategic location between Ondo and Lagos states and its accessibility to both road and water. Those in favor of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Supreme Court for this motion, but let me also share my experience with all of us. In the last 1 month or so, I've been holding regular meetings with security agencies, the DG NIA, the DG SSS, the Inspector General of Police, the NSA, including the Ministers of Communications, FCT, and a host of others. And what we are trying to do is to get a better and more operable and result-oriented approach to fighting kidnapping and the insecurity we face. And we have insisted here that no amount of resources will be too much, because we need to secure our people, we need to secure this country. It will remain a pipe dream if we continue to ask for people to come to Nigeria to invest. Actually, even those inside Nigeria may not invest properly once the security situation remains very dicey. So this is something that we have to do together with the executive arm of government. And in fact, I was looking for something out of the ordinary for funding, because the way we budget, I'm not sure if we'll be able to deal with this challenge at the moment. So we have to go out of our way to look for some resources outside of the national annual budget. If we can give, say, 700 or 600 billion naira to discourse or GENCOS, nothing stops us to look for the same or even more money to put in the security situation, to address the security situation of the country, because everybody and everything depends on good security here. So we will work hard to ensure that we are able to deal with this, and there's willingness, there's commitment from the side of the executive on this. In fact, we have already given the request for the NSA to come up with the different designs of and most of models of what do you call this? Drones. We thought there should be drones all over the place, properly deployed, to ensure that kidnappings are arrested, that people, when they kidnap, they negotiate. They use telephones. That is why we have to have the Minister of Communications. We have to find the way to be able to track this kind of thing. Actually, 2 weeks ago, we should have even launched or commissioned the National Emergency Center with a specific number, and now we have tried to reconcile all the security agencies to have only one number instead of 122, 112, and 199 and the rest of it. We have arrived at a single number and would have launched the National Emergency Center about 2 weeks ago, but because some of them traveled, we have postponed, but we are going to do that, and we want the National Emergency Center to be established across the country. At the moment, we have only 2 major ones, but we are looking for more to be established. And so we'll look for some resources to deal with this. Thank you very much.